Adrenaline. Feeling like we were in survival mode for a year, and now coming out of the fog, um, feeling like a feeling of responsibility, because as a teacher, you've got to hold it together and be strong for a bunch of kids. As a performer, a loss of identity, a loss of self, but also maybe a chance for me to refocus and figure out what my priorities are. Bursts of creativity, and then long periods of inactivity, like creating, music that had to do with COVID, and then not having the ability to actually promote it because I just didn't have the energy for it. So that's on the performer side of things. On the teacher side of things, trying to just be the strong, supportive person, the extra person in a student's life. They've got their parents. Sometimes they don't have their parents. Sometimes their parents are having problems of their own. So being able to be that just adult voice for them, adult listener for them, that was I felt like that was valuable. And I'd have students show up to we'd have office hours on Zoom, and they'd show up just to talk. They didn't need any help with anything, they just wanted to hang out. So that was nice.
How do you think the kids are doing overall? This is a period where they really should be interacting and socializing, and they're not getting that.
Yeah. Well, it's a wide array. There are kids that are actually thriving. Kids especially, I noticed the kids that have something that makes them different, whether it's being transgender or really introverted, having difficulties socially anyway, they're thriving. A lot of them are thriving. My extroverted students are having problems. Kids who were getting straight A's are now flunking, because they just need to be around people. So, yeah, I've seen it all, really. When we'd have our Zoom meetings, we'd have some students that always turn their cameras on and, would always talk and do the activities. I'd be teaching choir, so I'm having them do as much movement as possible so they're not just sitting in front of their Zoom camera all day. And there'd be some that are right there every day doing it, and then there's others that would never turn their screen on. And I'm just now, because we're doing a hybrid teaching now, I'm just now meeting students that I've been teaching all year, and still only half their face, just their eyes. But I'm like, oh, you're taller than I thought you were going to be. So, yeah, I mean, it's just all over the map. Kids, some are not doing so well. And we did a songwriting project. I did a songwriting project where I wanted it to be them talking about themselves, their lives. I said it can be silly. It could be, something that's really important to you about your family, whatever. And I ended up getting a lot of really deep stuff from kids. Some making jokes about, what COVID has taken from them, but some just talking about loneliness and isolation, and their perspective on life is so small that this just feels like forever to them. This will never end, So it's been interesting to see and get to know them on a deeper level than I probably would have actually in the classroom.
What kind of positive changes have you seen as a result of this situation? And do you think it's stuff that will carry forward, or do we just fall back into the old ways?
Oh, well, I hope that this will cause change. Certainly, from my perspective as a choir teacher, um, I got to think outside the box because I had to. And so it wasn't just about preparing for the next concert. It was like, okay, what are the very specific things that they need to know, you know, because we don't have as much time together. The time we do have together, it's me talking and them listening, you know, unless I can get them to interact, which some would. But so thinking about things like songwriting or evaluating music, learning some skills like piano skills, which I hadn't taught in class. I feel like it's caused us to slow down and think about, in just a broader sense, about what's valuable. It isn't necessarily about, you know, well, you've got to have 3 songs for the next concert, and you know, we've got festival coming up, so we have to, you know, do something along the lines of what everyone else is doing. And I don't think we need to be doing what everyone else is doing. So, I mean, we talked about social justice. I mean, in choir class, it's kind of it's an emotional place to be. People that feel vulnerable and okay to be vulnerable. So, I think it's been a good chance to really focus in on what's important. People.